Hugh Beaumont truly hated his more than anyone. Hugh Beaumont was born Eugene Hugh Beaumont on February 16, 1909, in Eudora, Kansas. He grew up in a modest Midwestern household where he developed strong moral and spiritual values that would guide him both personally and professionally throughout his life. His early years were shaped by the American heartland, and his eventual move to California exposed him to a wider world that included not just the entertainment industry, but also theological pursuits. Beaumont attended the University of Chattanooga before transferring to the University of Southern California, where he earned a Master of Theology degree. This spiritual foundation set him apart from many of his contemporaries in Hollywood. Even while pursuing acting, he never strayed from his calling as a minister. He often filled in at pulpits across Southern California when not on set, and his faith provided a deep well of inspiration that imbued many of his roles, particularly that of Ward Cleaver, with a quiet, dignity, moral compass, and authenticity that resonated with viewers across generations. Hugh began his acting career in the 1940s, appearing in a number of low-budget films and serials, often cast in rugged or morally upright roles. He gained early attention in the film noir genre, most notably as Private Detective Michael Shayne in a series of films. His tall frame, steady voice, and calm demeanor made him a reliable character actor during this era. He transitioned easily between B-movie thrillers, westerns, and early television, building a diverse resume that would eventually culminate in his most enduring role. It was in 1957 that Hugh Beaumont achieved household fame when he was cast as Ward Cleaver in Leave It to Beaver. The show centered around the everyday adventures of the Cleaver family, struck a chord with American audiences during the conservative post-war years. As Ward, Beaumont portrayed the quintessential 1950s father, firm but fair, authoritative yet affectionate. His character provided gentle guidance to his sons, Wally and the Beaver, and offered moral lessons not with sternness, but with warmth and patience. His chemistry with co-star Barbara Billingsley, who played his on-screen wife, June, helped create one of television's most beloved and idealized families. Although the series was initially modest in its reception, reruns made it a classic, with Beaumont's performance standing as a defining example of ideal fatherhood on screen. Behind the scenes, Beaumont was deeply committed to maintaining a professional and respectful atmosphere on set. He took a personal interest in the well-being and education of the child actors, often helping them with their lines and encouraging them to take their studies seriously. His fatherly presence extended beyond the screen and into the lives of those he worked with, earning him respect and admiration in the industry. After Leave It to Beaver ended in 1963, Beaumont continued to work in television and film, though less frequently. He appeared in guest roles on popular shows like Petticoat Junction, Mannix, and The Virginian. In addition to acting, he ventured into writing and directing, applying his intellect and creativity to projects behind the camera. By the late 1960s, he began to step away from Hollywood to focus more on his personal life and spiritual interests. He became a tree farmer in Minnesota, enjoying the peace and simplicity that rural life offered. A stark contrast to the hustle of Hollywood. Hugh Beaumont's talents extended far beyond his on-screen performances. Throughout his career, he demonstrated remarkable versatility by establishing himself not only as an actor, but also as a skilled writer. Over the years, Beaumont sold numerous television screenplays, showcasing his ability to craft engaging stories tailored for the small screen during the golden age of television. His writing wasn't limited to TV. He also wrote radio scripts, a medium that demanded sharp dialogue and vivid storytelling to captivate audiences, relying solely on audio. Beyond broadcast media, Beaumont's literary reach extended to print, where he contributed short stories to various popular magazines of the time. These writings further cemented his creative legacy, illustrating his deep understanding of narrative and character development, skills that no doubt complemented his acting career. As the entertainment industry evolved and opportunities shifted, Beaumont gradually began to distance himself from acting. Seeking a quieter and more grounded lifestyle, he embarked on a new and unexpected venture far removed from Hollywood's spotlight: Christmas tree farming. He purchased and cultivated a farm in Grand Rapids, Minnesota, where he dedicated himself to growing and nurturing Christmas trees. This second career not only allowed him to connect with nature, but also offered a peaceful contrast to the demands of show business. The seasonal nature of Christmas tree farming perhaps gave Beaumont a rhythm and routine different from the unpredictability of acting roles, reflecting a desire for stability and simplicity in his later years. Unfortunately, Beaumont's active life was curtailed by health challenges when he suffered a debilitating stroke in 1970. This significant medical event marked a turning point, forcing him to reconsider his professional commitments. After years of balancing multiple creative pursuits and his new agricultural endeavor, Beaumont officially retired from acting in 1972. His retirement symbolized the end of an era in his multifaceted career, but also a well-earned rest after decades of dedication to the arts and his personal projects. Despite stepping away from the public eye, Beaumont's connection to his most famous role remained strong. In 1980, he made a special appearance during a reunion of Leave It to Beaver cast members, an event organized by a local Los Angeles television station. This reunion was a heartfelt nod to the show's enduring popularity and the beloved place Beaumont held in television history, allowing fans and colleagues alike to celebrate his contributions one more time. On a more personal note, Beaumont's private life was equally significant and shaped much of who he was. On April 13, 1941, he married actress Katherine Adams Nahone in a ceremony held at the Hollywood Congregational Church. Their union was one rooted in shared experiences within the entertainment world and lasted over 3 decades, a substantial length of time in an industry known for brief relationships. Together they raised 3 children, 2 sons, Hunter and Mark, and a daughter, Christy. Their family life, although kept relatively private, was clearly important to Beaumont and provided a foundation beyond his professional endeavors. However, after 33 years of marriage, Hugh Beaumont and Katherine Adams divorced in 1974, making the end of their long partnership. Beaumont's legacy continued through his children, particularly his eldest son, Hunter Beaumont. Hunter carved out his own path far from the Hollywood spotlight, becoming a psychotherapist and author. His work in mental health and literature was a testament to the intellectual and creative environment likely nurtured during his upbringing. Hunter lived abroad for many years in Germany, contributing to the international field of psychotherapy until his passing in 2023. This detail not only highlights the global footprint of the Beaumont family, but also reflects the diverse ways in which Hugh Beaumont's influence extended beyond his immediate career in acting and writing. Though remembered by audiences as the calm, patient, and thoughtful father figure Ward Cleaver on the beloved 1950s television series Leave It to Beaumont, Hugh Beaumont harbored personal tensions behind the scenes that starkly contrasted with his on-screen demeanor. One of the most surprising and seldom discussed aspects of his time on the show was his deep-seated animosity toward his co-star, Tony Dow, who played his fictional son, Wally Cleaver. While the show portrayed an idyllic American family, complete with tender father-son moments and heartfelt life lessons, the relationship between Beaumont and Dow off-camera was anything but ideal. Hugh Beaumont was a classically trained actor and a deeply principled man who had entered Hollywood almost reluctantly, driven more by necessity than passion. Before achieving television fame, he had been a Methodist minister and had studied theology. He believed in order, respect, and discipline, both professionally and personally. He expected his co-stars, regardless of age, to bring the same level of dedication and seriousness to their work as he did. When Tony Dow joined the cast at just 12 years old with no prior acting experience, Beaumont was initially tolerant, but soon grew frustrated with what he perceived as Dow's lack of discipline and polish. Those frequent flubs, youthful energy, and behind-the-scenes restlessness grated on Beaumont, who felt they disrupted the show's flow and undercut the professionalism he tried to maintain. As the series went on, Beaumont's frustrations reportedly deepened. He considered Tony Dow to be the weak link in a cast otherwise committed to preserving the wholesome, heartfelt tone that made Leave It to Beaver a hit. Despite Dow's growing popularity with audiences and his natural chemistry with Jerry Mathers, Beaumont allegedly viewed him as an undisciplined and at times arrogant young actor who didn't show proper respect to the older cast or the crew. Some insiders have even suggested that Beaumont lobbied privately to have Dow replaced, though this never came to fruition. Fans also arose from the generational and personality differences between the two. Beaumont was a traditionalist with rigid ideas about family, conduct, and television's moral obligations. Dow, on the other hand, was a child of the late 1950s and early 1960s, a time of changing norms, youthful rebellion, and a loosening of authority structures. While Dow was by no means disrespectful, his casual attitude and inexperience were often interpreted by Beaumont as laziness or a lack of commitment. These differences widened the emotional and philosophical chasm between them. Beaumont took his role as a father figure seriously, even off-set, and when Dow didn't measure up to his personal standards, the resentment only grew. Moreover, there were reports that Dow, as he got older and gained more confidence, occasionally challenged directions or made suggestions about his character. While this may have been interpreted by others as a sign of maturity or initiative, Beaumont saw it as overstepping boundaries. The fact that a teenager would assert himself in such a way in the presence of a seasoned actor was intolerable to Beaumont, who saw these moments as symbolic of a broader societal decline in respect for elders and authority. To the public, their relationship seemed harmonious, a testament to both actors' professionalism. But, privately, it was strained. While Beaumont maintained a respectful front and never allowed personal feelings to interfere overtly with his performance, those close to the production have recalled his visible agitation during rehearsals and occasional terse interactions with Dow. Some even speculated that Beaumont's dissatisfaction with Leave It to Beaver as a whole, a show he sometimes felt limited his artistic range, was exacerbated by his inability to connect with Dow. By the end of the show's 6-season run, Hugh Beaumont was reportedly relieved to put the role and his difficult relationship with Tony Dow behind him. While he remained courteous in public when discussing his time on Leave It to Beaver, he rarely spoke of Dow in interviews, and when he did, it was with noticeably less warmth than when discussing other cast members. It seemed clear to those who knew him best that of all his professional relationships, the one he found most trying, and perhaps even resented the most, was with Tony Dow. In later years, Dow and other cast members, including Jerry Mathers, often spoke fondly of their experiences on the show. Dow himself seemed unaware or unfazed by Beaumont's animosity, or perhaps he chose to rise above it. Nevertheless, for Beaumont, who otherwise embodied the epitome of composed fatherhood, the presence of Tony Dow stirred a deep, lasting frustration, one that contradicted the perfect picture of family unity the world saw every week on their television screens. On May 14, 1982, Hugh Beaumont passed away at the age of 72 from a heart attack while visiting his son Hunter in Munich, West Germany. His death marked the end of a multifaceted life that extended far beyond his widely recognized role as Ward Cleaver on the beloved television series Leave It to Beaver. Beaumont's passing was not only a loss to the world of entertainment, but also to those who knew him in the various other capacities in which he served throughout his life. Hugh Beaumont was not merely a television actor. He was also a man of deep faith and conviction, A licensed Methodist minister, Beaumont had studied theology and maintained his religious credentials even as his acting career blossomed. Though he did not serve as a full-time pastor, he remained actively involved in religious life and was known to officiate weddings, deliver eulogies, and lead funeral services for family, friends, and members of his community. His gentle demeanor, moral compass, and commanding presence made him particularly well-suited for these roles, and many who attended these ceremonies remarked on the sincerity and emotional depth he brought to them. Beaumont viewed these acts not as performances, but as opportunities to provide comfort, guidance, and spiritual leadership, further demonstrating the compassionate nature that so many associated with his character on screen. In addition to his religious pursuits, Beaumont was a man of many talents, including music. Before he found fame on television, he was an accomplished jazz drummer, a passion he continued to indulge throughout his life. He frequently played with small, local jazz ensembles and enjoyed collaborating with musicians in impromptu jam sessions. Beaumont had a deep appreciation for rhythm and melody, and his drumming was known to be both technically skilled and emotionally expressive. Whether performing in intimate club settings or simply drumming with friends for fun, Beaumont found in music a creative outlet that brought him great joy. His musical talent added another layer to his complex personality, revealing a side of him that few fans of his acting work ever saw. Away from the cameras and studio lights, Hugh Beaumont found solace in nature. An enthusiastic outdoorsman, he spent much of his free time exploring the natural world. Fishing was one of his favorite pastimes, and he would often embark on extended trips to remote lakes and rivers, sometimes with friends, other times alone with his thoughts. He was equally fond of camping and hiking, relishing the peace and simplicity that came with being surrounded by forests, mountains, or streams. His retreats into the wilderness allowed him to disconnect from the pressures of Hollywood and reconnect with the quieter, more contemplative parts of himself. Friends and family often spoke of Beaumont's deep respect for the environment and his belief that time spent in nature was vital for the soul. Despite his serious image as the quintessential 1950s television father, Beaumont was well known among his colleagues for his dry and often razor-sharp sense of humor. On the set of Leave It to Beaver, he frequently amused his co-stars with clever anecdotes, playful teasing, and a steady stream of puns and jokes. Cast members, including Jerry Mathers and Tony Dow, later recalled how Beaumont would keep the mood light during long days of filming, often using his wit to diffuse tension or simply brighten someone's day. His humor was subtle and intelligent, the kind that lingered in the air and made people chuckle long after the punchline had landed. It was an essential part of who he was, a quality that helped bond the cast and create the familial chemistry that audiences so warmly responded to on screen. Hugh Beaumont's life was rich with diversity, depth, and humanity. Whether ministering to a grieving family, drumming in a smoky jazz club, hiking a mountain trail, or sharing a laugh on a TV set, he brought sincerity, kindness, and intelligence to everything he did. His legacy endures not only through the reruns of Leave It to Beaver, but in the lives he touched and the example he set as a man of principle, talent, and heart.